Hi everyone, here's a look at Mid Ohio in the Pro Mazda. Now this is just another basic setup guide as to where to start if you want to make your own setups. Now I always start as before from the baselines, high, medium or low. This track has a lot of corners and very few straights, so it's going to be a high downforce. There are very few tracks that you'll run low downforce at, and medium's kind of somewhere in the middle. So medium will be like Interlagos kind of downforce levels. Low's Monza. Monza's actually lower than low. You take the downforce off that low downforce setup for Monza. And high, a lot of very twisty tracks. So we'll start from the high downforce. Take the fuel out of it, don't need that. And just assess where we're at. Now one thing a lot of people don't realise when they're looking at these setups is that the iRacing default ones are actually very good. If their downforce is correct for the track you're running, they need very little changes. You're talking about finding the last tenth or two by modifying them. If you're still looking for a second or two a pace, then they're fine as is, and you're better off practicing the track as opposed to spending time mucking around with the setup. Because when you change the setup, you sort of have to change the driving style a little bit, and quite often, if you've still got a lot of pace to find, it's not worth doing that. So with a track like this, which is already high downforce in nature, the modification of the high downforce setup will only be for the last few tenths. Even then, it may not improve every driver, because typically by modifying it, you're making the car turn better, which makes it more unstable. So it's a nice, confidence-inspiring high downforce set. The iRacing one's pretty good. I have done some practice laps, but not today. So just take me a few laps to warm up and get a sense of where this sets up. And I missed the apex completely in that corner. The set did understeer a bit, but that was most of the driver. Having to kind of come on and off the throttle a bit to get it to stick in the middle of the apex. It's not wanting to hold the line. You want to turn into a fairly tight inside apex through there and bring it back again into the outside and cut back and over this curve. .5 isn't anywhere near the type of times I'd be looking for. Still got a long way to find from that. Of course, it's hard to find the peak pace while commentating the video and only doing a few laps, but I wouldn't be happy with the setup until we're at least in the 15s. So one unsurprising characteristic I'm noticing is understeer. these default setups will always understeer to a certain extent. They're built to be accessible, and it's not always a bad thing, but I find I'm struggling a little bit having to wait to get on the throttle, and when I do get on the throttle, the car's pushing wide, so it's probably not really what you want. The longer you wait to get on the throttle, the more time you're losing. That was a bit better. I can tell the car's understeering because the G29 wheel makes all these clicking and clunking sounds when I'm pulling on it and trying to get it to turn. Which probably is not a good sign. Sorry if these videos go on for a bit, but I've got to kind of go out and find the car. I want to take the whole process of actually how to go about setting up. It's a lot more educational thing if you can show people why you do it. A lot of time through there, but left me kind of offline. That's actually getting a very competitive lap even with this default setup. Yes, maybe there's not much wrong with it at all.
5 laps of fuel left.
I'd go make some changes, but there's not really much point if you're still setting green sectors, because how do you know it's the changes improving or just you improving? Eventually you hit a point that you can really feel you're close to the limit of the given setup, and I think we're getting pretty close to it here actually. Let me know if you're watching this, if watching 15 minutes and just lapping and trying to find time is actually useful in understanding the setup, or if you want me just to more back to talking about what to change. Back end is moving around a bit once you start to really get on it, so shifting the balance forward might not be a clear improvement. Okay, close enough. So the car's, I would say, a little bit understeery. You definitely don't want to take downforce off it at this track. It needs all the grip it can get through the corners. Front downforce balance 43. It's actually quite high. I'll take half a click off the rear just to see. Take a little bit of any roll bars. Look, I think some softer springs at the front. Actually, I should explain why I'm doing this. More taking a click off the rear wing will move the aero balance forward. The more aero balance forward, the more grip on the front wheels relative to the rear, therefore the car will turn better. Softening the front anti-roll bar blades will soften up the front of the car, which will give it more traction and grip through the corners, which should push the mechanical balance forward. So I've moved both the aero balance with the wings and the mechanical balance just slightly forward. That should give the car a bit more pivot on the front end through the middle of the corner. And I've changed the spring rates down. The higher the spring rate, the stiffer the springs will stay through the aero corners, which means the more stable the aero base of the car, and you should get more high speed grip with higher speed springs. But the softer the spring rate, the softer it will be through the slow speed corners, the more mechanical front grip. So I've softened the front end of the car up so it has more mechanical front grip, which will hurt it in the aero corners, but I think a lot of this track's sort of medium slow speed corners, so it should just give it a bit more front end. Let's just see if this has created a notable improvement. Now I was getting very good times before, so even if this car is a bit quicker, actually necessarily improving on them isn't going to be easy. definitely feels a bit more responsive at the front, which is what you'd expect. But we just have to see that's offset by rear instability. That was mostly caused by me downshifting, so that's not necessarily a problem to show. That's not good, but let's let the tyres heat up before making too many judgments. So what I'm doing now is really reducing the severity of my steering and brake inputs because the car will rotate a bit easier, and by turning too much you're just unsettling it. Yeah, just to walk this up. So it's quite possible I've gone too far. That doesn't mean it won't benefit from more aero balance forward. It just may mean I've changed a bit too many settings. It's a bit unstable. It definitely can clip that inside apex a bit nicer with these settings. Track a bit better around the inside of that corner without pushing wide. Controllable that time for that. 7s. It's definitely a slight improvement. I can turn it into that first apex and actually stick it on that inside yellow painted line, where it wouldn't do that very cleanly with the RS default. But even then, like, you're only talking a tenth or two. It's not even a tenth or two, like that's half a tenth off the lap I set with the default. And the way you drive this car has to change quite a bit. I'm really lowering a lot of my inputs. Which is how you want to drive this car. This car's like lighter. It's not a car that, caught the grass there a little bit. It's not a car you want to be battling. I've noticed a lot of people have a misconception that to be driving fast, you've really got to be fighting the car. Like fast drivers, they're sliding the tail and having to catch oversteer mid-corner. And in this, you're not. It's planted, it's smooth. You're sticking to a line, not having to alter it. You're not having to change your inputs much mid-corner.
About 5 laps of fuel there.
Yeah, I can load the front up quite a lot and the rear is sticky. So that's telling me the balance isn't too far forward. I definitely have to be a little bit more careful with it, but that's good. I like the car to respond to small inputs. Don't downshift in the middle of that corner, it just unsettles it. just of the 713. There's maybe a little bit more left in it. But I don't need to record a video of me doing 50 more laps. So yeah, moving the balance forward definitely helps the car. I think that's a better car than what the default high downforce setup was, but not by much, you know, a tenth or two. And if that suits everyone's driving style or not is completely unclear.